This is Anthony with Happiness is a Gamble. Thank you for joining me for 9 tips before building. So this is not a ground up build. This is a remodel that's happening in my master bathroom and bedroom and closet. But I figured since it's going on right now and I'm filming this video about building, might as well be in a building site. Tip number 1, your architect and builder need to be on the same page. When I say builder, I'm referring to your general contractor. But your architect and your general contractor / builder need to be on the same page. So if they are inconsistent, that can cost you money, it can cost you time, and a whole lot of headaches. So my builder was actually introduced to us from our contractor. So we had an advantage there, but even they don't have their communication perfect. So don't assume anything. You can't assume that they know what you mean. When you say something, you might think it's the clearest thing that you've ever said, and they literally have no idea what you're talking about, but are pretending that they do just to make you feel better. So you need to make sure that your communication is clear and that they are able to reciprocate and tell you what you were thinking, what you were trying to get across, and they can put it in their own words to make sure it happens. If you don't do this, you can cost yourself so much time and so much money. And there's lots of ways you can cut costs and you can cut down your construction time if you have that communication. Because architects think of things in one way, and someone who's building the property is going to think about it in a different type of way. So if you can bring those 2 points of view together along with your own, then you can really get yourself ahead of the game. If you don't. Tip number 2, as I walk around this construction site, you'll get a little bit view of what we have going on. Review your plans. Even if you've never seen plans before, you've never reviewed plans, do a little research, take a look at them. We didn't do that on our first build and it bit us in the ass. Make sure you take a look at it and figure out where your water line is. So water line seems like something that's simple and clear cut, but honestly, it can cost you a lot of money if you have to move a water line, especially if it's later in the process because you didn't realize what was going on. But you can also potentially adjust your plans to keep a water line exactly where it is. Because if you have to cut up the street and you have to cut up the sidewalk, and you have to do all these extra things for your build, it's going to cost you a lot of time. It's going to cost you a lot of money. And if it's anything like the city of Phoenix, they do not move quickly in the water department. It takes months. So if this is something that you don't have to do, absolutely avoid it. Figure out how to adjust your plan so you can keep your water line where it is. If you need to move it, you need to plan ahead of time. You need to be prepared, have that budgeted in, have that time account allotted. Tip number 3, before you build, understand, watch some YouTube videos, check it out. A house pops up really quickly, like much quicker than you might expect. The footings and the foundation go down, boom, the house pops up. Like literally within days, you go from having nothing that's flat to what looks like a house. Now this is just the shell, it's just the beginning. You're not way further along than you think you are because you have the frame of your house up. Believe me, there's so much more involved in building a property than just the framing. But you're gonna feel a sense of accomplishment. You're gonna feel like you hit a goal. But prepare that there's a lot to do after that. That's just a visual change that gives you that feeling. It's not as big of a milestone as you might expect it to be, and you're not as far along as you're going to feel, but it's still pretty cool. So tip number 4, build for how you're going to actually use your house, for how you live, because it's great to think about how you would like things to be if you were in a perfect world. If your kids weren't dirty, if your kids weren't messy, if you didn't have 3 dogs, if you didn't have whatever, right? So think about how you're going to actually use things versus how you wish you were using things. So build it for that way. Because if you build it for this ideal world that you think you're going to live in, but that's not how your life actually is, the house might not, or the building might not suit what you're actually trying to accomplish. So in the end, you need to accomplish your goals so you can really enjoy it and you can really appreciate it. So one of the things you can see in here, it's kind of dark, but we're actually remodeling our bathroom again. So a few years ago, we added this beautiful shower. Everything's dirty and there's stuff in there. 2 shower heads, that kind of thing. We redid the tile floor, bathroom, but now we're doing a total remodel. So my wife is adding a tub, removed the toilet. We're doing exposed ducts here like we did in the rest of our house. But this is now for how life is actually going to be, right? Whereas we built before, like, oh yeah, it'll be fine. It wasn't. So that's why we're back at it. We are also redoing our closets. So this little space right here used to be our closet. So we took down some walls, and now we've opened up to the storage room. So this was a space. This will now be a makeup area and a desk area. But we've now opened up to the storage room, which is very dark in here. But if you can see a little bit, we're going to have a freaking massive closet, because the reality of our life and what we need is different than what we thought that we were going to need. So plan for that. So something to consider is an interior designer, interior decorator. Like, honestly, I've never personally used one. My wife has a really good eye for design, and together we can find cool ideas online and, you know, furnishings, and really put some awesome things together. But not everyone can do that. There's no point in spending all this money building a property and then you have poor taste. So then you pick ugly tiles and bad paint and ugly doors and, you know, ugly fixtures. And now you've wasted the last 25% of your budget on things that aren't really very nice and aren't actually going to make you happy or make your wife happy or your kids happy, whoever it is that you're trying to satisfy, or your husband. But so if you don't have those skills, if you don't have that ability, find someone who does. You know, if you have to pay a professional, that's fine. But if you're not happy with the end product, then all this has been a waste. And finishes make the property, right? Lots of people can build, but not everybody has that eye for design, the eye for detail and getting things right. So make sure that you either do and you do your research, or you find someone that can do it for you. Tip number 6. Your inspector has a lot of power, like a lot of power. So the city might have approved your plans, might have said, this is good to go, here, do all these things. And then you get to an inspector who says, no, I don't like that. I don't like the way that's done. The city should not have allowed you to do that. I want you to do it this way. Literally, there's a lot of things your inspector can do to make your life difficult or make your life easy. Depends on the inspector, depends on whether they like you, whether they like your project. There's a lot of things. Some of them are just difficult all the time. Some of them take things personally. Some of them are very clear in their communication, are great at their job, but know that it doesn't, like, they can make your life miserable if they choose to. So don't piss them off. Be very professional and kind to them. If they're doing things that are out of the ordinary, you can always speak to a supervisor, but don't make an issue of it, because you're gonna have to see them again, and your job is gonna be reliant on them. So today in our remodel, we actually had an inspector come out for the first inspection for this part of the remodel. We didn't pass. There was a few things on electrical and such that needed to get adjusted, but he was clear in the communication of what he wanted and why he wanted it. And that, you know, for the most part, inspectors are looking out for you. They're looking out for the city. They're looking out for your neighbors to make sure you don't build a pile of crap that's going to burn down or fall down or kill someone. So keep that in mind. Most of them are that way. The ones that are not and are difficult, sometimes you have to take it on the chin. Sometimes you have to figure out a different solution, but be aware that that is a thing. So one of the things that we wanted to do when we redid our plans is we actually added a door where there used to be a wall. So now we can actually step right out to our pool and our jacuzzi. So for us, all these headaches are actually going to be well worth it on this remodel. When you submit building plans, you have approval. A lot of times the building is not built 100% exactly the way that it shows in the plans. Things can be adjusted in small ways. When you require engineering and that sort of thing, large things can't be changed. You can't move where load-bearing walls are or any of that. But if you need lights to be slightly lower, slightly higher, to be moved, to have a toilet in a slightly different spot, to move your sink a little bit, to put, have a refrigerator in a different spot, to put a closet where it was going to be an open space, as long as it isn't violating code. As long as any of these things aren't violating code, most of the time your city or your town is not going to have an issue with it, and it's something that you can adjust on the spot. But major changes will have to go back to planning, will have to go back to engineering. So be aware that small adjustments can be made, but if you want to make overhaul changes or big adjustments, it might cost you time and money versus just adjusting on the fly on the job. So make sure you speak to your architect and your contractor about anything that you might want to change, but know that you can make some small adjustments. You're not set in stone on every little thing. Tip number 8, know your finishes. So plan for your finishes during the process, during your planning process, during your permitting process. Plan for what things are going to look like, because if you wait until the end to try to figure that out, you're going to screw yourself and it's going to cost you a lot. Last thing, number 9, final touches. Those things can cost a lot more than you might imagine. So I'm talking, nice light fixtures. I'm talking door handles, towel holders. Those kinds of things really add up. The types of faucets that you select, all of those things can really, change your ultimate bill within, thousands of dollars potentially by the choices that you make. Some of those things might require special order. So even though it seems like something fairly simple, it might not be, especially in a time of pandemic where factories aren't as productive. Shipping has, other priorities. Sometimes consumer goods don't get to where they need to be. So plan for that, be aware, and budget that accordingly as well. If you don't want the cheapest door handles and the cheapest towel holders and the cheapest things that you can find at Home Depot, you might need to plan ahead and make sure that your budget includes it. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. At the end, I want to give you just a little bit more of a tour of what's going on. I'll give a little narration, that way in case you're curious about what's happening, I'll have some pictures probably of this at a later time as well. As promised, a little quick tour. So this is my master bedroom door that's going to the hallway. Right now it's sealed up to control dust. This plastic that you see goes to our master bedroom. We're going in here. The really only thing we're going to be doing is a smooth coat on the walls. We did some new lighting, so there's some holes cut in the ceiling. Right here, though, as you saw, so we extended the bathroom part, and I used to have a desk here, and then we used to have a closet from the hallway back there. We closed that up and made this bathroom larger. So we moved the toilet. My wife is getting a really nice tub over here, and then we have the shower that already existed. So obviously these floors are having to be redone. Walls will be closed up and redone. Over here, you can hear a helicopter flying over. I live by a mountain. Sometimes they do testing on search and rescue, and helicopters fly over the city through this airspace. Anyway, so here's where we're gonna have it's a double sink with one drain though. So it's a big sink that'll drain over here. This is where we added the door. You can see my pool in the background, or at least parts of it. This was our old closet area that now, once it's here, compared to our new closet area, is so small, but we need a lot more space. So this is going to be my desk area over here, and this will be my wife's makeup and kind of changing table area over here. This is going to be this is a storage unit that already exists. It had an outside door that's going to get closed up, and this will get drywalled over, and we're going to have, this is our closet now. So you can hear this much larger. It has an echo to it. But it's pretty massive, so it should have, meet all the needs for now and for the future. Anyway, so this is the tour. Thank you for watching my video. I'd really appreciate it if you would, subscribe, comment, share, anything like that if you find this of value. And until next time, thank you.